Good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome from a very fresh morning here at Juma Game Reserve. I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world. My name's Tara, and joining me on the Gunda this morning is Daniel, and back in final control is Herman. And quite a beautiful sunrise this morning with a lot of mist right off in the valley there, so hopefully we'll have a quick look at it as we drive around. But I'm going to head down towards the hyena den, see if there's any activity first thing this morning, and then we'll head around the rest of the game reserve and see what else we can go and find this morning. Sounds like the vehicle's getting ready already, so let's jump aboard and check out those hyenas first. Sounds like someone else has just woken up. Female making a run for it from the male impala. The rest of the females are here, kind of asking themselves what's going on. See if I can get past this tree here. She's actually gone quite far off now, so that male might just come back to these females. Alright, he's going to pursue the female by the looks of it. Okay, well let's keep up with him because we may get him roaring again. And believe it or not, impala do roar. That was him. No lion, just impala. Making that my best impression. There he is. Oh, there she is. I think he's going to try and push her back here. Good morning, no update as yet, I've just got mobile. I'm going to check out the MBC car this morning.
Okay, copy, thank you.
Bless you. Now he gets very protective this time of year, and he will force that female to rejoin the other females. I'm just going to pull back again since we can't see around the bush. Oh, sorry, Danny. Alright, he's happy now. She's rejoined the herd. You can see he's wiping his gland between his eyes, on his forehead, on that bush there. You'll see a lot of that this time of year during the rutting season. Interesting, we've only got a few females. There's usually quite a large herd here. I wonder if someone came this way last night. So we shall leave them to it. And he also seems very skittish. You can see he's looking around at everything and any little sound. Maybe it might be worth us just trying. Maybe a roundabout approach. To the hyena den. See if there's any tracks around of other predators last night. Wildebeest's crossed over there. And if anybody would like to send through any questions this morning, please do. Oh, elephant crossed over that way by the looks of it. Yep. Crossed over there. If you would like to send questions through, then send them through to questions@wildersafari.tv. And if you are a new viewer, it's always great to hear from where you are in the world. See what nationalities we have on board. It's always great to hear. Can't see any movement of elephants that side. We may be lucky on Rebecca's road. I think some of the guides are following up. We did hear some lions calling last night, quite far off in the distance. I think they're checking out somewhere in the north for us. Maybe it might be worth us just checking down here for any tracks. Low-lying branch there. Like the mist is rising. And the technical term is mist. Mist is usually the low-lying cloud which forms inland, and fog generally... Oh, I see the nose of a buffalo. Fog generally forms on the coast or near rivers, large rivers. It's generally the coastal low-lying cloud. Hey, Mr. Buffalo. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mobile Station with an update. I have just a traffic drove on Jones Road.
Ah,
To the south, at the junction with the Palo Plains Road.
okay, that's where the elephants got to, Zoe's Road.
Okay, tapi I'll take my engine battery up because it is there. Okay, copy that time. I'm on my way. That's
All stations, I've got one in Yari, just on the junction of Warburgs and Twin Dams Road. I think what we might do, because I think the light is going to be quite beautiful on the other side of him. While he's sitting there chewing the cud, I think we'll just drive around to the other side. As those first morning rays actually hit him. We are going to have to back up because I've just seen what tree this is that we're sitting right on top of. A tree that we probably will get a puncture from. The sickle bush. Very good toothpaste. If you take the wood and get the ash from the wood, once you burn it, now, I've not been seeing too many buffalo recently, but he is an old bull, and you will find old bulls either in small herds or on their own. It is very normal. And this is their retirement years. They find it very difficult to keep up with the herd, so they tend to drop towards the back of the herd as they get older, and then eventually just break away. And you'll often find them I just heard there were some tracks of leopard just on the northern side of Buffles Hook, or Buffles Hook Cut Line, heading to the west. I wonder whose those are from. But you will often find the buffalo close to water, where there is soft vegetation, because as the buffalo gets older, their teeth do start to wear down, as do most animals, and they find it difficult to eat the same food as the rest of the herd too. They prefer the softer vegetation which is found at those water sources. And the same with the elephants too. You'll often find older bulls close to the water lines for the same reason. The teeth are worn down and they're chewing the softer vegetation. Hard to imagine how dangerous one of these animals can really be when you see them like this. And those are the Helbit shrikes calling. I'm just having a look to see if they can be seen in the tree that's in front of us. Oh, flown off already. we might be lucky. There's two still at the back there. They actually sound like Ritz's helmeted shrike, and I'm just seeing in the sunlight now. There they go. The white helmeted shrikes, you generally see the black and white. Yeah, there's the red eye and the red bill. Too quick this morning. Let's see if we can get a picture for you. Fortunately, they were in the tree quite far back. There we go. So, but especially with the buffalo sitting here, you'd actually find them flying straight down towards the buffalo. So it's this one here that we're going for. And the red beak and that red eye ring. And you can just about see the white on the tail. And you will find them in the family groups. So you can see there was probably about 8 or 9 of them together. And sometimes they will actually form, or they will actually be with other helmeted shrikes, like the white-crested helmeted shrike. And this is a lot more of a contrast when it's flying. You get the white and the black as they fly. You can see this beautiful grey head and this yellow eye, which can be very prominent if you're very close. But it's this white and black when they're in flight that you look for. And a little bit more of a melody when they're calling rather than what we heard as they came in. So it was the Ritz's helmeted shrike, R-E-T-Z. And that call as well also helps to give them away. Whereas the oxpeckers, you'd hear almost like a box of matches rattling. So if you can imagine just taking a whole box of matches and rattling it, that's what it sounds like when the oxpeckers fly in. So I think let's leave this buffalo to it. He keeps looking at me as if to say, what are you going to do? So we'll just check on this junction here for any tracks. And I think we'll head towards... I found a log. I think we'll head towards Zoe's Road and see if we can find those elephants. And we'll have a quick stop by the hyena den. Let's see what's going on there. What would you say the temperature is this morning, Daniel? You're really good at guesstimating temperatures. No, same. Probably in its late teens, maybe. There's a bit of a wind chill going on there as well. So if you're trying to imagine what the temperature is, it is around the late teens. And it's quite a bite in the air. Hence my hat. Keeping my ears warm. And I must admit, when I was at school in the UK, I could never understand why animals left Africa, or birds especially, migrated. I was thinking, as I'm sure a lot of people do, that Africa is warm all year round and we don't really have seasons as such, but couldn't be further from the truth. As you head up towards Central Africa, towards the equator, that is probably a lot more realistic. You will get birds actually migrating towards those areas in Africa. But certainly down here in the south, we do get the seasons. You do get quite a marked change in the seasons. And at the moment we are going through autumn, so you are seeing the leaves starting to droop on the evergreen trees. You do get some trees losing their leaves, like the marula trees. We're going to be seeing marula trees completely bare in probably about a month's time. All of them will be bare. The tamboti trees also, the reddening of the leaves. You see one or two the other day starting to go like that. What have we got up there? Oh, we've got grey go-away birds. It's funny, you get used to the shape of rocks and trees and things like that as you're driving around, and that looks very odd on the branch. And they're all sitting huddled up, waiting for the sun to rise and warm up. Which it will do. The sky is clear, so it should be a nice warm day once the sun does rise. The grey go-away bird, also known as the lory. Named after its call. It says, go away. Sounds something like, away, away. It's fairly close, eh? Although apparently not close enough, they're not responding to me. Is your beak too cold to answer this morning? It's going to be a little bit too awkward, that angle. Ooh, a genet was out last night. Tiny little footprint. No bigger than my thumb. As I was saying with the seasons, it does get very warm during the day, and even in winter you can get very warm days. But as soon as the sun dips, you feel that drop in temperature quite rapidly. Not seeing any tracks here of lion. Lots of fresh elephant activity here too, so we need to keep a lookout for the elephants here. So we'll head straight down Philemon's cut line via the hyena den. Looks like the elephants have crossed straight over. So there may be elephants on Philemon's cut line. And we'll head up Zoe's Road and see if we can find that herd that was spotted a few minutes ago. Something like this. Quite glad to see it's not a sickle bush. But I do have an elephant's chew stick. Nice and fresh. Now, if you do see a branch in the road, you always look to see if it is fresh, and one of the ways that you can tell is if the leaves are still nice and green. There's a lot of moisture on this, so this was obviously from sometime this morning. There's a lot of fresh tracks with it. Also still heading that way behind us. But if you can maybe zoom in here, you have a look at the bark as well. And if the bark is nice and moist, especially in the winter time, then you know that the elephant is not too far away. I'm listening out to hear if there's any branches behind me snapping. But what you'll find is this would have been taken off. This is a round leaf teak, and this would have been taken off, snapped off, and then put in the mouth, and they can chew it as they're walking, and they'll just turn the bark, maybe with their trunk, and they'll just keep turning it, the branch, sorry, just to strip off all the bark, and that's what they're actually eating from the branch. And the round leaf teak seems to be one of their favourite trees for doing this. I can actually show you a leaf. This is actually one of the big leaves, so I can put that back down. Did you have a nice look, close look of the bark, or the barkless branch? There we go. So this isn't one leaf, it's all of this that is one leaf. So you look for the growth point on the branch, and that actually tells you if it's a single leaf. So if you have the growth point coming off the branch here, that'll be a single leaf. So you do get some trees that just have the single leaves, and this is pinnately compound, so it's a compound leaf, so it has two leaflets either side, and then you can get like the acacias where this will be split, this branch will be split, so you have tiny little leaflets each side of that as well. So round leaf teak, there's beautiful big round leaves. So let's jump aboard again and see if we can go and find the owner of the branch. And I think it's that big bull. I think he's around, possibly here, somewhere in this block. So we may hear him as we go around towards the hyena den, or he may have continued on, because he is in must. So he may be attracted by those females. If there is a female in estrus, he was checking out a few females. Just judging by his tracks. But I'm not hearing any branches breaking, so I think he has moved further into the bush already. Or any trees being knocked over. There go the crested francolins. Good morning to you, Eagle. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. Welcome on board. All the babblers calling. Oh, there they are. I was seeing so many birds this morning. We're able to catch it on camera. There we go. Arrow-marked babbler. You always hear them and very rarely see them. Continually moving on. As are we. But also, thank you very much for sending through that information on the lions the other day. Finding the paper I was talking about, very much appreciated. And I'll talk about that in a little while. But wanting to know what cat species we have here in the Sabi Sands, small cat species. We do have the serval. If anybody's not sure what a serval looks like, they look like a small cheetah. And they stand on quite long legs actually. And that's for seeing over fairly long vegetation. And they do a lot of hunting of rodents and birds. They will actually launch themselves into the air after a bird. And we've seen one once, and funnily enough I was actually asking Mark if they saw many servals when I first arrived, and I think this was probably about a week or so. Maybe a couple of weeks after I arrived. And so I asked him, how often do you see small cats like that? And he said not very often, and I think he said he'd never seen one while he'd been here. But sometimes you do find the tracks, so you know that they are here. And sure enough, that night we were out on a night drive, and we went to drive out, and we started on the quarantine area, and I just happened to catch the eyes of an animal sitting about 5 meters off the road, and there was a serval attached to those eyes, which was quite something. Didn't stick around too long though, sadly. See if anybody is home. Oh, looks like they are. Oh, and I see a little cub. I just need to watch the aerial there. Both of them are out, look at this. Where are you going, little ones? Are you coming up to say hello to us? Try and move the vehicle back, and there's Floppy here. Now we're still not entirely sure who is the mother of these two little... Look at this. How amazing. It's not even 4 months old yet. I reckon it's probably about 3. And already coming up to the vehicle to investigate. Quite something. As I was saying, we're not entirely sure who is the mother of those little cubs, but we've seen some interaction to suggest that they could be floppy ears. Now, I thought there was a little cub following floppy ear when we saw her the other day, and that was probably about 5 or 6 months old, maybe 7, which tied in from when we thought she may have given birth. So remember, we did see her heavily pregnant last year. I think it was around September, October. And that would have tied in, and we actually thought she had given birth at that stage. But maybe we were wrong. Maybe she was just extremely heavily pregnant and she hadn't actually given birth yet. But she did look quite a lot lighter when we saw her a few days later, and that's what made us think that she'd actually given birth. So we're still waiting to see that interaction, and I'd like to see if this cub suckles. Because if it does, then it will actually tell us for sure if floppy ear is the mother. But what was quite interesting is that interaction you saw just before, both of the older hyenas actually sniffing the genitals of the cub. And you actually find the subordinate animals will go and sniff the genitals of the higher ranking individuals. And floppy ear here is the matriarch of this clan. And quite often you won't find females bringing food back to the communal den site, which is what we are at now. This is communal den site. There's a lot of different aged hyenas using this den site. And you'll find females coming back to the den site, but generally not bringing food back. But both Mark and Patrick have actually said that they've seen hyenas bringing food back here in the Sabi Sands, which is quite unusual. And the fact that floppy ear here has actually got something to eat also, it could be the fact that she is the matriarch and no other hyena is going to steal that food from her. And that's possibly the reason why they don't generally bring food back to the den, is because they could get it stolen by other higher ranking individuals. I find it quite interesting, the fact that here in the Sabi Sands it's seen more than maybe elsewhere in Africa. And it could be that there's a lot of other predators here, so there's a lot more opportunities to scavenge, although hyenas are very good at hunting. But it could be a lot to do with the food opportunities. Hyena's being startled by something. Okay, I'm going to move a little bit. Oh, floppy ear's coming back. The young hyena. So it's this little one that I thought may have been floppy ears. I think it was a pup about that age that was following her. And the one on the right now, you can see there's a bit of a size difference there. And the one now on the left is probably about 5 months, 6 months. The other one just slightly older, maybe about 7 or 8 months. You see the cubs are following floppy ear quite closely now, the two little cubs. And the fact that they're being quite bold as well also suggests that maybe they are the matriarch's cubs. and with them being so young. And here at the communal den, she's not sure about something. You found yourself a little bone. Good morning to you, Bill. And Bill wanting to know how big or deep is the hyena den and how many animals can live in the den. We're being surrounded, Daniel. There's actually two just behind us. And I do wonder if we're going to get a bit of bickering there over this piece of bone. But this is actually quite a big termite mound. And they may move den sites, they may utilise a single den site for a long period of time. They may only use it for maybe a couple of weeks and then move on. There's no real set time period for using a particular den site. And I think this clan have been moving around a lot. So it'll be quite interesting to see how long they stay here. But a hyena clan can be... Hello, Cheeky. So one just in the screen just came right up to the back of the vehicle. I think we do need to move back just a little bit though and see what all the moaning is. Someone's grumbling about something. Aha! Okay, let me just pull forward because it looks like somebody is at the hole where the cubs are. They might just get an ID on who the mother is because I think Floppy Ear was still around the back there. So a hyena clan could be anywhere between just a few individuals right through to maybe 50 or 60 in some of the larger areas. Just going to try and pull back a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Can you see through there? What do I need to pull forward just slightly more?
There's a nice gap over there.
I can't go that close. These branches are there just to stop people getting too close to the hyena den. But if we can see through here, we've actually got two nursing. And we're able to move across to the other female. Because we've actually got two females with two sets of cubs. So we've got the female that's in the hole that we can't see too well, but we have got a female just to the left who's actually nursing two other cubs which look even younger than the two that we saw. These are completely dark. Okay, let me just move forward just slightly so we can actually see. So hopefully, Bill, I can try and show you the size of this termite mound, but there seems to be holes everywhere. And this really is quite something. We've got this mother here that's on your screen now, and you can see those youngsters, and they're probably only about 2 months old. A little bit smaller and much darker than the other two we saw. And that female doesn't have any notches in her ear. But then the other two that we were watching earlier was joined by that female who's joined the one that was nursing. But I couldn't see if she was nursing them or not. So there's even more hyenas here than I thought, maybe about 15 in total that I've seen. Okay, you can kind of see through there at the moment. It really is quite amazing. I'm just going to pull back to where we were because we might be able to actually see a little bit better. Now the other female has moved. You can kind of see that whole mound there with the tree sticking out the top. But good morning to you, Angie. Welcome on board as well this morning. Wanting to know, does anything prey on hyenas? And how do hyenas keep their numbers down? Well, hyenas are not generally preyed on anything when they're large. They're quite an efficient predator themselves. And very few animals will want to get mixed up in them. You see the hole there? They won't want to get mixed up in a fight with a hyena, even a single hyena. They actually have one of the most powerful bites in all the mammal kingdom. I think it's around 1,500 pounds per square inch. And they can and have been known to kill lion. Not generally by themselves, but once you get a group of hyena together. And I think hyena, that they're biggest enemy would be the lion. Lions will also kill hyena. Leopards, they're not really found in great numbers to really become a threat to the hyena. And they'll even drive wild dog off kills. Excuse me. See, this is where the biting power really comes into play with the bone. They are very capable of eating large pieces of bone like this. And I think that's partly how they do get their numbers controlled, especially in areas where there are clans up to 50, 60 strong. But there's a lot of competition between the hyenas too. But what I find quite interesting is the more research that's done on hyena, the more we find out about them, the more we actually realise that they are a lot more cooperative, I think, than what we give them credit for. You don't tend to see allosuckling, as in with the lions. You don't get the females actually giving milk to other females' cubs. And you don't tend to get a babysitter, so if the adults go out scavenging of a night, the cubs are left alone. And they'll only really join an adult to go out hunting, or to go out foraging, shall I say, when they're roughly around 6 months old, give or take a month. They'll only start hunting once they're about a year old, when they're large enough. But the pure fact that you still get family groups like this, and they do hunt cooperatively, does suggest that there may be a lot more research that needs to be done on the hyena. Maybe a lot more secrets to unravel. Oh, here comes one of the little pups again. But that cub's gone hiding behind a bush. And just as I was saying, where the clans are quite large and the competition starts to become quite fierce for food, that'll be how they start to, or the numbers will start to be regulated. And that's where excuse me, ranking will really come into play. And they do have a very strict hierarchy. So the high-ranking females will dominate lower-ranking individuals, and if there's not enough food available, then they will outcompete them for food. And that's partly the reason why they think that females, or most of the reason why they think females have become so aggressive and extremely dominant to males. It's very much a female-dominated society, and it could be that competition for food that has driven that. They're just so inquisitive. And good morning to you, Mike. Great to hear from you. Wanting to know, is the cub mortality just as high as in cats? And that is quite true, Mike. In fact, I think it's possibly higher because you will get siblicide also in hyena. And just once again going back to the dominance and the hierarchy and females as well as males. Males also have a hierarchy, but females is extremely strict. And this occurs from birth. You will get generally 2 cubs. You won't generally get more than 2 cubs. We're being surrounded again. And right from birth, you'll start getting one of the cubs dominating the smaller cub, and that will be biting and tormenting the other one. And generally, if it submits, then the dominant one will stop giving it grief. But then the dominant cub will have the choice of teats, and the teat that has the most milk, that dominant cub will take. And if there's not enough milk, then the second cub will go either without or less milk, so obviously it won't grow as rapidly. And through that you may get the death of a cub. And certainly at this age, I mean, these cubs are tiny. And if there was another predator, maybe a hyena from another clan, if it dared come through here, it may end up killing the cubs. A leopard could also, snakes, all the other predators that are susceptible, or cats are susceptible to, so are hyena cubs. And that's possibly one of the reasons why you get so many hyenas at the communal den site. Maybe there is some protection there. But the cubs, when they're this size, you'll find that there's a lot of little holes in the termite mound, as well as the large holes that the females will excavate. That may have been abandoned aardvark holes. Maybe a warthog might have moved in for a little while and maybe excavated it and made it larger. And then hyenas may have come along and put their own mark on it. But then the cubs themselves will find little holes that even adults can't fit into, and that'll be their protection. They'll actually go into these holes so that other larger predators won't be able to get to them. And even an eagle at this stage, if there was an eagle flying over, and it was taking a chance, if there wasn't maybe as many hyenas around and the cubs were out, you never know. An eagle could take, you don't really hear of it happening, but there is the possibility. Anything is possible in nature. Quite amazing the difference in the attitude of these cubs. You may hear them using cubs and pups. They can use both. Strangely enough for hyena, I think it's possibly coming from the fact that for so long they were classified as a dog, and they have been reclassified into the cat order. But just this stark contrast, if you remember the female with the 2 notches in her right ear, and even when her cubs were about the same age as the larger set of little black cubs, they were still staying close to the hole. They weren't really coming up to the vehicle as much as these cubs are, and it's almost as if one's kind of goading on the other, and the fact that the other hyenas were sitting pretty close to us gave them a lot of confidence that they could come closer to the vehicle. But this is where we do believe, or do think, that possibly she was a low-ranking female, and it could possibly be that she was a first-time mother, just because she was being so protective over those cubs. And the fact that she kept them in a separate den, and she didn't take them back to the communal den, and even when we saw them maybe about 5 or 6 months later, it didn't look like she'd taken those cubs to the communal den. Now, I still haven't seen that female here with the other females that have been around, but we haven't really seen too much of the adults, just floppy ear. We're going to the high-ranking females. You may still get some giving birth in a den separate to the communal den, and they may bring those cubs back to the den around 2 months old. But the matriarch and extremely high-ranking females may actually give birth at the den side, and I think that's what's happened here. I do wonder if one of those females is maybe even second to Floppy Ear, the one that was nursing her cubs around the corner just a little bit earlier. Both hyenas behind the bush for us now. Let's see if I can just move back slightly.
And that cordon rara come from Mandalay to Kruger, eastern side, up the way down to Malabo side. I think I'm from the western side of Mandalay. Yeah, like in the area of the north of Jalaj. Yes, okay, okay.
Yeah, here comes the little one again, coming towards us. so wonderful to actually be here at a communal den site. Hopefully you can hear me now, but it's so wonderful to be here at a communal den site and to have cubs of all ages, from 2 months old, which are about this big, right through to about 6, 7, even 8 months old, which are about this size, and even the adults here. It really is quite a fantastic sighting. I've never seen so much activity from hyena and so much interaction, and to have these cubs running around and chasing each other and nursing, it really is probably one of the best hyena sightings I've ever seen. Truly fantastic. Well, I must admit I could stay here all day, but I'm sure there's a few people that would love to try and see some elephants this morning. It really has just been such a precious moment to spend with them. But let's see if we can... Little one's interested in the Franklin's calling. But let's see if we can continue on, and if we don't have any luck then maybe we can come back. As I say, certainly one of the best hyena sightings, in fact the best hyena sighting I've ever seen. Shall leave it in peace, so as not to overstay our welcome. And just going back to the small cats that we have here in the Sabi Sands, we do have the African wildcat. Looks very similar to a domestic cat, about the same size as a domestic cat. Sorry, I got unfortunately caught up and didn't continue on the story. The African wildcat you may see as we go out on drive towards the end of the evening, or the afternoon should I say, as we're going into evening. So they are a nocturnal species. Serval you may see during the day or night, depending on what other predators are in the area. We may even have caracal. Occasionally we've seen the tracks. But I don't think we've actually seen a caracal. We have once. If there's anybody watching who knows that we have seen a caracal in previous years, I'd love to know. I think I have vague recollections actually of someone saying we did once. And the caracal, also known as a roycat because of the colour. Red all over the body, the black tufts to the ears, and they sort of have this little sprig of hair off the tip of the ear. Also known as the red lynx, or African lynx, other names. I don't think we actually have the small spotted cat or the sand cat. As far as I know, they're not found, or even the black-footed cat, not found here in the Sabi Sands. Found further west and north from here. And the relatives of the cats as well. We've got the genet and the civet. We do see lots of their tracks around. And occasionally we do see the animals as well. Also quite shy, nocturnal creatures. And Genet was actually out here last night too. Another big bull went that way. We've got one walking down the road here and the other one going that way. So we shall do a loop and see if we can find him. Somewhere in this block here by the looks of it. I think the one that crossed over from our chewing stick that we found a little bit earlier looks like the same one that walked down the road here. Quite fresh. all turned around and came this way now. Went up there. I wonder if there's two families. Should be around this corner, I think. I'm hoping. Always hoping. I do wonder if two families are actually coming together, because someone said there was some elephants on the way down here. And these tracks are going up. They might have crossed over there. Thanks, Mike. Mike's saying we only saw one a few years ago. Good morning to you. And I'm just having a look. I thought I saw a dark body. I think I might have been mistaken. I'm smelling this bull in most. Not too far. We might need to try the next road over. Yeah. So these tracks come down. I think they are crossing over. We do need to just turn around and go on to Gary. Gary, Maine. Go up a little bit further. Oh, good morning to you, Heath. Welcome on board this morning. Wondering if we have any pine trees here in the Sabi Sands. Not to my knowledge, we shouldn't have pine trees here. If we do, they will be in the gardens of the lodges, but generally lodges nowadays don't have trees that are non-indigenous. The only ones that they have were planted there maybe when they were old farmhouses. So we do get some reserves where you have jacarandas, which are actually native to South America. Such a beautiful tree with beautiful purple blossoms. Very distinctive tree. But sadly, it's not supposed to be found here in South Africa. As are quite a number of beautiful trees and plants that were brought over with horse feed. Okay, I think we do need to turn around. I don't think we're too far away from them. I think they are in this block here somewhere. We might have luck hearing them breaking branches. Okay. Where was Hez from? I missed that part. It sounded like it gets very cold from where you are. Minnesota. And apparently it gets extremely cold that side. I'd say we don't get as cold as maybe Minnesota or even Alaska or places like that, or even Britain. To my knowledge, we don't get into the minus here in the Sabi Sands, but elsewhere across South Africa we can. And it has once or twice snowed in Johannesburg. Not the thick blanket of snow as you'd expect to see, or maybe some people would like to see, but maybe a thin splash of snow. Maybe one of these days I'll actually make it over to America again. I've only done Florida, and that was to go to Disneyland. That was when I was 12. So I haven't actually been to any other part of America. Maybe one of these days. See how varied it actually is. Bless you. Have you ever been to America, Daniel?
Yeah.
You have? Oh, really? If you didn't hear Daniel, apparently he was around Disneyland around the same age. Oh, you've been to New York? New York and Boston. There are still so many places in the world I'd love to go. And every time I hear about another country, I want to go there too. Are you smelling that? Smell it. It's so strong. It's very musty. Well, I think it must have been his urine left behind. So it's very, very strong. I'm just trying to think what I can liken it to, and it's almost got a sweet smell to it. Can something be musty and sweet at the same time? It's not like a damp musty, it's a fresh musty, if there is ever such a word or smell. How can a group of elephants hide? Apparently very well. Okay, let's try this side, see if we have any luck. Just switch off and listen out for any branches. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Have you seen any elephants that side? Nothing. Okay. Well, have a look down this side. Thank you. Lots of old tracks in the road, not as fresh as the other ones. Depending on the speed that the elephants were travelling in, which didn't sound like they were going very fast, sounded like they were actually just feeding. In which case, they won't cover too much ground. But if they're just walking, they can cover a lot of ground, even in just 10 minutes. I wonder if he's just spotted some. You're right. Oh, he's just crossed over. Oh, thank you. So he's just seen one just cross over here. So I also saw a big grey behind. But if he's crossing over, that's not the one that we've been following. Okay. I need to get a vantage point. We'll go in here. We must have just got in here. Lights playing tricks on me. I thought I saw a head down. Ooh. A head down there. Huh. That's where I thought I saw. Maybe not. Just see if we can listen out again. Now, unless you've got something upsetting elephants, or maybe two young males fighting, you don't always hear elephants making a sound. They're actually very, very quiet animals, unless there is something that's upsetting them. You may get a trumpeting, but otherwise very quiet. And the thing that we're listening out for is those branches breaking as they're taking sticks off the trees to eat, maybe bits of bark, or maybe even just the leaves being stripped off the branch. But unfortunately, what I thought was an elephant is not. And they do move extremely quietly through the bush. They do have that nickname, the ghost of the bush. I always remember watching a herd of elephants crossing the road in front of me. And I only knew that they were there because they were crossing the road in front of me. Good morning. How are you doing? Good, good. Now we thought we saw an elephant in there, but it turned out not to be. Apparently there was an elephant that did cross through here though, and there is a big herd coming this way, but we're just trying to locate them at the moment. Oh, is there not? No, it's been very quiet I think this morning. Sorry? With Karula. I think the last I heard she was just on the western side here of Triple M, or the Cubs. That was yesterday. So we'll head up towards Impala Plains and have a look around there as well. Yeah. Alrighty. I'll give you a shout if I see anything. Okay. Enjoy your safari. Good morning to you, Alan. Welcome on board this morning. Good to hear from you. Just want to try and get another vantage point here. Maybe we should try a little bit up towards Triple M, a little bit more. I would like to go up towards Impala Plains and have a look around there, see if Karula's been around. As you heard me say, the Cubs were seen yesterday, and I think Karula also, though there was a little bit of confusion as to whether she was there or not, on the western side, just opposite Impala Plains. This is not the vantage point I thought I had. Okay, let's switch off here and just see if we can hear them. Alan, wanting to have your memory refreshed. And is it true the steenbok is the smallest antelope here in Selby Sands, and is it the smallest antelope in South Africa? And yes, it's true that it's the smallest antelope here in the Selby Sands. Slightly smaller than the grey duiker. But the smallest antelope in South Africa is the blue duiker. Quite a lot smaller than the steenbok, but we don't get them here in the Selby Sands. We get the distribution of them actually. I'll have to have a look. Come on, elephants, where are you? Lights are playing tricks on me. I'm seeing elephant heads everywhere I go at the moment. So if that one bull was crossing over, we're probably going to try and meet up with the herd. Okay, we just need to keep a lookout for any branches, trees waving too, because that will help us. Find the pachyderms. I think let's go through to Impala Plains. And then we'll drop down Triple M. Giving us a good opportunity to have a look for Karula though. Actually, this is just looking so beautiful here. There's spider webs. Look at this. There's all the dew on them. Maybe we can actually have a closer look. Maybe some people missed the spider web that we had the other day. But it's just such a beautiful one just here, which I'd love to show you. So let's hop off, stretch our legs a little bit, and I'll keep an ear out for any signs of those elephants. This one here, look at this. I know spiders aren't everybody's cup of tea, but just the whole structure of this web is really quite something. This is one of the hammock spiders, and if we have a look just all around, there's a lot of these webs. There's another one here with the sun, and there's actually somebody on there. I don't know if we're going to be able to stretch this far. There's actually the spider just in there. And the hammock being quite flat. Tropical tent web spiders, they tend to be a little bit higher up in branches and in trees, and you tend to get the web being pulled up, and you have a few strands actually pulling it up so it almost looks like a tent. You can see this is quite nice and flat, and especially the one that we were looking at just before. Nice and flat. And if anything walks onto it, then the spider will obviously feel that vibration and they can run and grab it. And you can see where the spider's sitting on top of the hammock there. On a tropical tent web spider, the spider will actually be underneath, and they'll actually be able to catch whatever falls onto the web and pull it through the web. But look at this, this is just so intricate, and you can even see another tunnel going in there as well. And also you can see a few strands here that might stop any fly. There's a fly buzzing around and flying through here, just like the tropical tent web spider. If there's anything flying through, some of these strands may even stop it and they may land on the web. But they're a little bit more delicate than the tropical tent web spider. Absolutely beautiful with all the dew on them. If I come back, you can actually see all of the webs here on the grass. Quite something. Okay, I'm seeing another elephant head over there, but sadly not. But here's the blue duiker, Alan, just to show you what it looks like, and the distribution is along the coast apparently. So further towards the coast, especially around Mozambique and KwaZulu-Natal, which is the Zulu land. And up towards Central and Equatorial Africa. But quite a small antelope. I think you're looking at about this sort of size. So maybe about the same sort of size as the hyenas we were seeing a little bit earlier. Whereas the grey duiker that we're used to seeing probably stands about this sort of height. So much larger. So that is the smallest antelope in South Africa, the blue duiker. So, from the smallest antelope to the largest herbivore on the planet, land herbivore, still in search of them. So I wonder if they did actually move on, because from the dung and from the tracks it's very fresh. So I really was expecting that they'd be around just here. We should be able to hear them breaking branches and doing, or still being around, but maybe they moved on to a different area to feed. Oh, thanks, Roy. Roy's saying I'm welcome to his place, to stay at his place in the Emerald Isle. I didn't know there was an Emerald Isle in North Carolina. Oh, thanks, Roy. Appreciate the offer. And you never know, one of these days I might take you up on it. There's a lot of elephant activity going through there too. Maybe we're actually just driving around and they're following us. Animals definitely have a sense of humour. Maybe today is one of those days. Little roller. What's up? Oh, he flew into the sunlight, that's not good. Okay, I'm hearing another one. Let's see. Can you see him there? Sorry, can you repeat that, Locke? Copy that, thank you. Okay, there's actually two sitting in the tree there. Looks like they're actually having a fight. Oh, oh, look at this. We've got them displaying. I don't know if you managed to catch that, but that was the roller displaying. So I was just trying to see where it was going. Because there was two sitting in the marula tree to our right, and there was one sitting in the greenthorn to our left. And he was actually displaying, and that's where they get the name from, the roller. This is the lilac-breasted roller. And he just took took himself right up into the air and then just dipped his nose and went straight down again, and he was sort of doing this motion, straight down. He did it a couple of times. I don't know, did you manage to catch it?
I'm not sure. I was getting a reflection of the screen. And I was zooming
So I was too busy actually watching above the trees. But he's complaining again. I don't think we're going to be seeing it again. Sadly to say. So I think we actually had 2 males and maybe a female, and he was displaying, and he actually chased off the male and displayed. Okay, well there he goes. And there goes the other one. Flying into the sun, unfortunately. Wow. Oh, it is doing it. I don't know if you can... Did you get it then? We are just pointing too much into the sun, but I am seeing them rolling again. They're coming back over. Yeah, do it on this side. Just here. And he's coming back again. He's just behind us. There we go, there we go. There he just dived again, and he's going up again. And down again.
so small.
Yeah. And there he goes. Well, I don't know if you did manage to see it, but it's certainly worth a try. It's such an interesting behaviour to see. It really was. As I say, going up like this and then just nose diving. A nice try though, Daniel. Daniel was trying his hardest. There are little tracks coming this way now as well. Let's go and check out Impala Plains, and then we'll turn around and go back that way. Maybe Rebecca's Road might be worth a try. Sorry, go ahead. Hi Jenny, good morning to you, and your son Braden as well. He's also watching this morning. Good morning to you. And apparently you enjoyed a trip out to the zoo the other day. It was last weekend, you said. Oh look, little Beta. You're gonna come back. Oh, it just landed on this branch and I just didn't stop quick enough. Flash of green and gold. Beautiful little bird. Well, maybe they'll come back as we drive back down this road again. And you saw the flamingos at the zoo. Oh, it's starting to warm up quite nicely, and there is, I thought I saw a couple, some dwarf mongoose up ahead. Okay, can you see this little one on the road there? As the sun's coming out, it's just warming up. And the dwarf mongoose also making use of that warmth. Here they come. And just like Timon the meerkat from the Disney's Lion King, you'll find them, oh, there goes a baby. You'll find them searching under rocks and in the vegetation and digging in the ground for any signs of insects, maybe even scorpions, lizards. We saw one catch a lizard the other day. We even saw one steal some food off a spider's web. Very quick little animals. The smallest mongoose here in South Africa. In fact, of all the species of mongoose, the dwarf mongoose. Easy to distinguish between other mongoose. Dark bodies and living in families. You very rarely will find dwarf mongoose on its own. If you do, something is very wrong. Oh, there is. There's one actually looking for something on the end of the grass there. And there they go. You're getting left behind, little one. Looks like the family are off. They've warmed up. They've probably had a grooming session. And now the sun has climbed higher. They're all ready to go. Just quickly show you this picture and I'll get back to your question. those of you who have never seen, oh, I'm on the wrong page, never seen a little bee eater. It's this little guy here. It's probably the best one to show. The green and gold. I can pull the book out. There's the one just to the left as well, which I can't point to. But that's the little bee eater. And I'm hoping, once we hit Impala Plains and have a look for Karula, see if there's any tracks of her around there, and we may have a chance to actually see those little bee eaters. I think you were saying that you saw the flamingos, and in particular the greater flamingo. Actually, there we go. Here's the greater flamingo and the lesser flamingo. And we do get them here in South Africa. And the greater have this black part to the bill. And I think also quite a pale eye. Whereas the lesser flamingo doesn't tend to have as pale an eye. You can see it's quite a dark pink eye there. And you can see the striping on the bill, it's quite different too. You don't have just a black stripe, it's pretty much all black with a bit of pink. And I must admit, I've never known the difference between them until just looking at the pictures now. I'm wanting to know if we do get them here in South Africa, and as I say, we do. We may get the flamingos flying over here, but I doubt we'd actually get them staying, and they probably wouldn't pass over that much. I think they may have been blown off course if they do pass over here, as far as I would really suspect. Just because we don't really have big lakes or estuaries or rivers and that sort of thing close by here. Maybe further into Kruger, maybe, quite possibly. But I can't remember which species it was now, but I do remember somewhere near one of the big mines. They actually had a little island made to encourage the flamingos to come back. I think it was further to the west. I think somewhere around Kimberley. Someone can correct me on that. They actually built an island to encourage the flamingos back to that area, and they're actually using this island, and the numbers have increased quite dramatically now. And I've also seen flamingos at the zoo. I've never seen them in the wild, sadly. Seeing them standing on one leg, while they're resting the other leg. And quite a specific way that they feed, and that odd bill of theirs actually acts as a filter, and they'll use their tongue to squash, or they'll take in the water and squash the tongue against the bill and drain out any of the water, catching any of the crustaceans that they're seeking there. I'm hoping we're not going to lose you. I just want to check a little bit further up Impala Road here, because she does like to use this road, but sometimes we do get a little bit of a drop in signal, so do bear with us. I won't go too far up it. I do want to have a quick look. Especially as the cubs were opposite. They were directly opposite on the western side of Triple M, which is this main road. It's just running parallel this side, which is our western entry. Well, it looks like someone's already been down here today. There's a lot of vehicle tracks already. So if there was any tracks here this morning, they've been driven over, but no one has reported tracks. So I don't think. Oh, we were going to check Triple M as well, weren't we? Okay, same thing. We're just going to check Triple M. Just reminded myself. I get so carried away. Morning all stations, any kind of any involved on Triple M this morning? Oh, there's people crossing over. We'll get to the bridge so we can actually see further down the road. hopefully you're back with us. Sorry about the breakups there. It doesn't look like there was any sign of those elephants crossing over. But it is certainly, something is definitely happening. There was a couple of tracks of the big bulls crossing over. The other bull also coming in from wherever he was on his own. So I think there is 1 or 2 females that are in estrus or coming into estrus. And I wonder if there's actually 2 family groups or 2 herds of elephants. Because of all the tracks that we've got a set of tracks here heading this way, and we had a set of tracks from the south heading this way. I wonder if there is something going on in this block here. Let's see where these tracks lead. They also look fairly fresh, but it could be the reason why they're not around the area I thought they would be. Because maybe they're actually covering the ground and to meet up with the other herd. Could be what's going on. And elephants are in constant communication with each other. Even though we can't hear a lot of what they say, a lot of it is low frequency sound. They will actually be talking to each other. Well, good morning to you, Joe. Hopefully you're well. And also very good to hear from you. It's been a little while. But wanting to know how a spider spins its web. Often wondered how they do that. And they actually set out a piece of silk that is taken by the wind. And wherever it lands, the spider can then climb along it, laying down a stronger strand of silk. And that then becomes the main line that it'll build off. And coming down or going to the center of that strand and dropping down a vertical line, which it'll then start building the rest of the web from. But the hammock webs seem to be a little bit more intricate than just an orb web, or say just. There's a lot of effort and work that goes into that. But I would imagine that they would actually be able to climb from one part to another because it's quite low off the ground, so I think they would use that to help them. Just seeing where these tracks go. Still on the lookout for the elephants. And no sign of Karula. Not at the moment, anyway. Maybe we should go and check out Treehouse Dam. We'll try Rebecca's Road. There's a few tracks here.
Yeah, Gonzo here from the hotline is going to Darling Lane, Mamba Road. Yeah, but from Mamba Road, etc., I can't move on board. It was my new station, somewhere around.
Andrew, come in. Henry, come in.
Stand by.
Sorry, I missed the first part. What in consoles have you got there?
Corridor 14 west.
Ah,
North. Along the back.
copy. That's Niancombe. Where was it? Lalapans.
Also on corridor for Combi.
Ah,
That cover on top of English one right. I can't book out where the next cover from where the
copy that. Thank you. Guys, also checking in the east now. They've got some tracks of the leopards just on the eastern side, right on the boundary, and some tracks of rhino over the top of them apparently. I think our elephants still in. Oh, sorry, Dana. Bit of a hill there. These elephants have been having a party along here too. Although these tracks, some of them are looking fairly fresh. I think that's why there's just been a lot of activity around here recently, because there's some old as well as newer tracks. Could be they're doing a bit of a circuit around here. And they can stay in one place for a number of days before moving on and finding a fresh feeding ground. Hi, Lindsay. Good to hear from you, Lindsay. And yes, I did have a look at the picture, and there was quite a number of people that also responded to help me out. And Lindsay wanted to know who the picture was of the leopard, just before you press play on the player for our channel on the website. And I thought it might have been Mvula, but then Rosie, she came back and said, what about white cloth? And the pictures that I have of white cloth weren't that great. Okay, I'm going to head down this way and then we'll head east. So I do want to check out around Treehouse Dam. Unfortunately, I think we'll have to leave the elephants. Doesn't look like they're going to pop out anytime soon. So close, yet so far. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult, and you can't really just go in and bunderbash. So unless you see the animal, or you can hear the animal. And it's quite a big block in there. Somewhere in there, I think something is going on. So we'll just have to see if we have any luck this afternoon with the elephants. So I was given these pictures by Rosie. She had better pictures than me. And I actually am agreeing with her. I think it's looking more like whitecloth. Look at the facial markings. Sadly, whitecloth died defending her cub against another male leopard late last year. But I have heard he's doing very well. Her son is doing very well, and he was last seen, as far as I heard, about 3.5, 4 weeks ago now. They have been. Oh, they've been running around in circles. Look at this. This is where they've popped out. Have you been waiting for me to drive by? Is that what was going on? Oh, wonderful. Good morning. Oh, and there's one of the babies. Probably about a year old, that little one. So while we were driving all the way up there, they must have popped out through the bush down here. And I think this is actually the herd that we were just following from Impala Plains. Bless you. You're trying to communicate with them. Hello, little one. So if anybody thinks it's anything different, please do let me know. But I think I'm with Rosie on this one. And I still would like to see if I can try and find out who took the picture so we can actually confirm it for sure. Because the picture itself isn't showing the spot pattern up particularly well. But from what I can see, it does look more like whitecloth than it does to me now, Mvula. It looks like the herd are making their way down towards Treehouse Dam. I think we're going to stay with them. And I'll keep my ear to the radio if they have any luck with the rhino or the leopard that side. It seems we've been working so hard to find the elephant this morning. It'd be nice to stay with them. Station Swambi and Glove on Shabam Road, Fambring south towards Treehouse Dam. Alright, little one. Oh, he's been left behind. Just going to wait for him to go around the corner. Suddenly realising he's being left behind, there's a strange machine thing behind it, not too sure about. I'm just going to pull forward a little bit more because they are heading down the road, but I just wanted to give that young bull a little bit of space. There's a few just to our left there too. And if anybody was on drive the other day when we had that beautiful big bull, oh, baby elephant just through there. And he was eating a tree, and I said I'd confirm the idea of that tree. It was a greenthorn, otherwise known as a torchwood. I managed to have another look at the tree, and I saw that the trunk, which I missed the first time round, and very much the trunk of a greenthorn, and it's actually the part of the tree that I don't often look at. I look more at the leaves and the structure, and the greenthorn has very large leaves. Very large thorns. And for some reason I just couldn't see them on that tree, so to me it did look a little bit more like a jackalberry, and with the fruit that dropped also. But they also have very small green fruits on the torchwood. And I've never noticed the trunk before until now. But it's certainly a very distinctive trunk, and I won't forget it in a hurry, I can tell you that for sure. But if we are by Twin Dams next time, I'll be able to show you the tree. And what I'd love to do is actually try and look at the footage again and see how far up the tree our bull elephant was standing, so we can actually try and show you how tall he is, because it really was quite difficult to get the perspective of how big that bull was. And they're all slowly making their way down towards the dam, so I'm going to pull forward again a little bit. But certainly very desirable to the females, and they've been quite eager to meet him, I think. And what's quite nice is that the females will have a say in who the younger females mate with, and especially if it's a female who's never mated before, you will get the older female staying with her to almost help her through, especially if you've got quite a young female. It is possible for them to breed around 9-10 years old, but it can be much later, maybe when they're around 15 or 16 years old. So you may have this female that's still growing, and she may have a bull who is twice the size, if not 3 times larger than she is, which could be quite daunting for her. I'm going to wait for this lady to come out and hopefully we'll see the baby quite nicely. Oh, she's missing part of her tusk. Good morning, lady. Little one rushing through. You see that gentle steer with her trunk. And slowing it down. And guiding it into the bush there. Got one more of her family just trailing behind. Oh, little one, you're getting left behind there. Hello. Now that one's probably around 6 or 7 years old. These cows just standing off to one side there. Let's see if we can sneak around the tree. Hello, lady. And there you go, you can see this female taking another round leaf teak and doing exactly what I was discussing a little bit earlier, taking it with her, using her trunk to twist it in her mouth. You can see the calves also mimicking her. And she'll teach the calves what to eat and what not to eat. And they'll find out by putting their trunks inside her mouth, tasting what she's tasting, smelling what she's eating. A very important part of growing up and being an elephant. You're going to let me go past you, little one? Oh. All right, little one. Excuse me. Just slightly further than he was. So let's see if he'll allow us just to go around the corner, because I'd like to see these elephants coming out towards the dam. See if he will allow us. Yeah, he's alright now. Feels like he's put us in our place. Hello, beautiful lady. Oh, I wonder if we can have a close-up on her trunk. She can actually see some of the hairs on her trunk. Quite long hairs. And those hairs will also give them a lot of extra feeling in that trunk. Almost like a whisker on a cat's face. So if anything touches it, she'll be able to feel it. And look out for the ever-present fork-tailed drongos, the little brown blackbirds, sorry. They're flying about the elephants and waiting for any insects they might disturb from the grass and the vegetation as they move. You may see them darting in and out of the screen. And they are the fork-tailed drongos. Actually, there's one sitting on the branch there. Deep fork in the tail, hence the name. They're actually quite interesting little birds. I thought the elephant was going to come and play with it. But they do mimic calls of other birds and sometimes other animals.
Changing battery.
Welcome back, sorry for that. And there's the drongo again. Not too sure where you heard to, but just talking about the fork-tailed drongo and being able to mimic other birds and animals. And what they have been seen to do is mimic the alarm call of the meerkat. And unfortunately we don't get the meerkat here, it's too dry. Sorry, it's too wet for them. They actually prefer a much drier habitat further west from here. So our equivalent is the banded mongoose and the dwarf mongoose. but they will mimic the call of the meerkat in certain areas. And if they give this alarm call, the meerkats will respond and dart to the nearest bolt hole and get out the way of whatever predator may be around that's caused a meerkat to give the alarm. But obviously it's not the meerkat, it's the bird, and they may leave behind any large pieces of food. So the fork-tailed drongo can fly in and take what was left. Quite sneaky of them, but at the moment I haven't seen the fork-tailed drongos use the alarm call of the dwarf mongoose, and I'm still waiting to see if they will mimic that call. It'd be very interesting to see that. So far we've only seen the meerkats. Well, it's only been documented that they do that with the meerkats. And they are still slowly making their way down. I can see the water from where we are now. I wonder if they are making their way towards the water or whether they just happen to be heading in this direction. They may just take a detour and head east from here. Oh, we're not seeing her too well at the moment. Let's move around the corner and see if there's a better view. There's one slowly making her way down this side. I thought she was going to continue down here. Here comes another little one. Just going to move forward just slightly because it's just being blocked by the sickle bush again. Now, if you didn't believe me when I said about them being very quiet, you can hear now very little sound coming from them. Hello, beautiful girl. Are you smelling us, lady? See how she used the trunk just to scratch her ear, just as we would use our fingers.
Beautiful on the eyelashes.
And again, this lady is probably about 7-9 meters from us, and she's barely making a sound. You could just hear as she walked through in between the acacia trees, but otherwise very silent. The hippo not too impressed at having the elephants at the dam.
I like to say.
I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, we couldn't drive by and not show you. I hope you have enjoyed the time spent here on Wild Earth this morning, and do join us for our next live safari at 3 o'clock Central Africa time this afternoon. But from myself and the elephants, Daniel on camera, and Herman back in final control, take care everyone, we'll see you again soon.